Okay, let's just jump right in. In the world of cybersecurity, a security incident isn't really a possibility anymore, let's be honest. It's an inevitability. So the real question isn't if your business is going to face one, it's when. And when that moment finally hits, chaos just can't be an option. You absolutely need a plan.
So just picture this for a second. The alarms are going off. You've just found out you've been breached. What do you do right in that moment? Do you panic? Do you start yanking cables out of the wall? This isn't some hypothetical fire drill. For a lot of companies, this is just another Tuesday.
And the answer to that really chaotic moment is having a plan. Think of it like a fire escape route, right? You don't start looking for the exit signs when the room is already filling up with smoke. No, you learn the route way ahead of time. A solid plan is what turns that panic into a clear procedure.
So what is this plan we're talking about? Well, it's called an incident response plan. Think of it as your official playbook for when a cyber attack happens. Experts from places like the SANS Institute and Security Metrics have helped shape this idea. It's a formal, written-down document that lays out 6 very clear phases to guide your team right through the storm. It's the procedure that replaces the panic.
This brings us to phase 1, preparation. And I really want to be clear here. This is, without a doubt, the most crucial phase of all of them. Seriously, the work you do right here before anything bad has even happened is what will determine whether you sink or swim when that day comes.
So how do you actually prepare? Well, it really rests on 4 main pillars. It all starts with training, making sure every single person knows exactly what their role is. Then, you've got to do drills. I'm talking about running actual mock data breaches to find the weak spots in your plan. Of course, none of this is going to happen without approval from the people upstairs. And finally, you need funding. You can't fight a fire without equipment, and you have to get that budget locked down before the alarm bells start ringing.
And you know, this quote from Security Metrics just nails it. The more prepared your employees are, the less likely they'll make critical mistakes. It's all about building that muscle memory so your team can act with confidence instead of fear.
All right, let's move on to phase 2, identification. This is the moment the alarm gets sounded. Something weird has been spotted, and now the clock is officially ticking. The big goal here is to figure out, and figure out fast, if what you're seeing is a real security incident or maybe just a false alarm. Your team immediately switches into detective mode, and 2 questions are driving everything. How in the world did this happen, and what's the blast radius? Understanding that initial scope is absolutely vital for everything that comes next. And to figure that out, the team runs through a super critical checklist. They have to know when it started and who found it. They have to nail down exactly which systems are compromised and figure out if they found the attacker's way in. And maybe most importantly, they have to answer the huge question, can the business even operate right now? Okay, so once you've identified the breach, you have got to stop the bleeding. And that is phase 3, containment. The whole point here is to isolate the systems that are affected, to stop the attacker from digging in any deeper and causing even more damage. Now, what's really important to see here is the warning. Your first instinct, your gut reaction, might be to just wipe the infected computers clean, pull the plug, delete everything. But you can't do that. If you do, you'd be destroying the very evidence you need to understand the attack, and more importantly, to kick the attacker out for good. So containment kind of happens on 2 fronts. In the short term, it's all about immediate triage, like unplugging an infected server from the network to stop the spread right now. But there's also the long-term, more strategic play, making sure you have clean backups ready to go so you can restore operations on a totally separate, secure system. That buys you precious time to deal with the compromised one.
So let's move to phase 4, eradication. Okay, containment was about stopping the spread. Eradication is about finding the actual root cause of the infection, the malware, the stolen credentials, and removing it completely. And the one question that really defines this entire phase is this: are you absolutely positive you got everything? This is where you have to be so methodical, because if you leave even one little back door open, that attacker is going to be right back in before you've even had your morning coffee.
This means you've got to take some really concrete, deliberate steps. You securely get rid of all the malware, you harden the system by closing up any security gaps, you apply every single patch and update you can find, and yeah, in some cases, you might just have to re-image the whole system, which is kind of like a factory reset, just wiping it totally clean and starting over from a trusted source. There are absolutely no shortcuts allowed here. Now for phase 5, recovery. The threat is gone, it's time to carefully, and I mean carefully, bring the cleaned systems back online and get the business running again. The keyword here is safely. You do not just flip a switch and cross your fingers. First, you restore everything from a backup that you know is good. Then, you double and triple check that the systems are fully patched and hardened. After that, you monitor them like a hawk for any weird activity. Only when you are 100% certain the coast is clear do you give the final thumbs up to go live. And finally, we get to phase 6, lessons learned. This might be the last phase, but honestly, in the long run, this is the most valuable one. This is where you find the real long-term payoff, by turning a full-blown crisis into a chance to get way, way stronger.
And this timeline shows you exactly why incident response is a cycle, not a straight line. After all the dust is settled, the team gets together for a post-mortem. They analyze what went wrong, they use those insights to make the plan better, and then they schedule the next drill to test out those improvements. It's a constant loop of getting smarter.
That post-mortem meeting is all about asking the really tough questions. What was the exact weakness they got through? What did we actually do right? Where did our plan totally fail us? How does our training need to change after this? And of course, the million-dollar question, how are we going to make sure this exact thing never ever happens again? So, there you have it. Preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. 6 phases that give you a structured way to get through a data breach and actually come out stronger on the other side. But here's the last thought I want to leave you with. It's one thing to have this plan all documented and sitting in a binder somewhere. It's a completely different thing for your team to be able to execute it flawlessly when they're under extreme pressure. Your plan exists on paper, but is your team truly ready for when that clock is ticking?